Hello everyone and welcome back to the other clash that we've been waiting for. It's the second game between Garry Kasparov and Viswanathan Anand. We've already seen the clash between the two of them in yesterday's match, and it was a pretty nice one. Kasparov lost on time in a worse position, but now Kasparov has the white pieces and he has a chance to bounce back. And yesterday we've said that Kasparov has quite a nice lead against Anand in pretty much in all-time formats, and Anand was able to lower the lead yesterday a little bit. So now Anand gets the chance to lower it even further today. So let's see what happens. It's Kasparov with the white pieces today. Let's see how the game went. So Kasparov with the white pieces opens with d4. Anand replies with knight to f6. We have c4, e6, and knight to c3. We have bishop to b4, knight to f3, and d5. We've basically transposed into a Ragozin defense of the queen's gambit declined. We have c captures on d5, e captures, and now bishop to f4 by Kasparov. We have c6 by Anand and the queen to c2 now. So nicely developing the queen, and because Kasparov developed the queen so nicely, Anand takes use of this and plays g6. Now he wants to play bishop to f5 to develop his bishop with tempo, attacking the white queen. So e3 and now bishop to f5, attacking Kasparov's queen. We have queen to b3, and now as the bishop is attacked, you could capture the knight here, which isn't really something you want to do. You could bring the bishop back, but then you expose the b7 pawn. So of course you just bring the queen over to b6. We have knight to h4, taking advantage now of the weirdly placed bishop. So bishop back to e6, and now continuing development, bishop to d3. Now Anand also wants to take advantage of Kasparov's weirdly placed bishop, so he plays knight to h5, attacking the bishop here. So bishop to e5, attacking Anand's rook, and here Anand just castles. And here Kasparov went into a deep think. Well, it was about a minute and something, but still it's a lot since it's a 5-minute game. And he decided to play g4. And at the moment he played g4, it's a very nice pawn sacrifice. He was already down to 1 minute, whereas Anand had some 4.5 minutes left. And it's not a new move. It has been played before, but only in one game. And in that game, Black replied with knight to g7, which is good for white. But here Anand accepts the challenge. He just captures the pawn, and he says, "Okay, Garry, what do you got here? Let's see the moves." And of course, Garry starts the attack. Rook to g1. So now the rook is eyeing here the king along the basically x-raying the king along the g file. The bishops here are very nicely placed. He's probably going to bring the queen to c2 and put a lot of pressure here on the black's king side. So here we have bishop back to e6 as Anand's bishop is under attack, and now queen to c2. And now you can see that 4 of Kasparov's pieces are attacking that g6 pawn, but Anand here is the first time Anand basically spent some time in the game. He was calculating if everything is okay, if he has a defense against all the sacrifices Garry was going to throw at him, and he said, yes, there is no problem, I'm just going to continue development, knight to d7. And it also comes with an attack on one of Kasparov's very strong attacking pieces, and that is the bishop on e5. So here Kasparov has to act. He's very low on the clock, and he goes for it. He plays bishop captures on g6. And okay, there's no other move. You have to capture this bishop, and you have to capture it with the f pawn. So f captures on g6. We have knight captures on g6, and now this knight cannot be captured. If you capture it, then you are getting checkmated. Queen captures here, knight blocks, and then queen captures on g7 will be checkmate. However, Anand calculated all of this, so after knight captures on g6, he just plays knight captures on e5. Now he gives up the rook, but it's not a problem. A rook for 2 pieces is always great if you're not getting checkmated. So here we have knight captures on f8, king captures on f8, and now Kasparov has to waste a move to capture back some material here. So d captures on e5, and now comes queen to c7, getting the queen back into the defense, not allowing something like queen captures on h7. And here Kasparov plays f4. You have to start advancing those pawns. If you can get these pawns up the board, good things might happen. And the problem is Kasparov is down to 15 seconds on the clock, and Anand has about a minute and a half. So here, queen to f7, Anand brings the queen over here to help out with the defense of the f5 square, so Kasparov can start pushing those pawns. And now Kasparov castles queen side. Now he wants to play rook to f1 and then continue with his plan. So bishop to f5, of course, Anand will not allow this. We have queen to b3 now attacking the bishop, and now even a5, not even rushing with bishop captures on c3. Anand feels very comfortable in his position, and he just solidifies his position with a5. And later on, he can continue pushing his pawns on the queen side if he decides so. If not, then he can just, try and remaneuver the rook into the game like this, keep the king safe, and everything is fine for him. So here, knight to e2. Now Kasparov wants to get this knight to d4 and then gain control of these squares. But now comes knight to g7. And here, the knight is now coming into the game, also via the e6 square. Kasparov brings the knight to d4. And here, Anand has to be... Well, he has to be very, very precise here. He has to play either bishop to e4, or he can bring the rook into the game. He can start by something like b6 and then advance maybe to c5. But he plays bishop to c5, which is he's getting ready to start the attack over on Kasparov's queen side. But this allows Kasparov a very dirty trick to get back into the game. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find this nasty trick while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this idea. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's rook captures on g7. That's the good stuff. We have to capture now with the king. If we don't, then the queen leaves the defense of the bishop here on f5. So king captures, but now it doesn't matter. We still capture on f5, and now we want to get the queen away from the defense of the pawn on b7. And if queen captures on b7 check. Now we pick up the rook. And if the king goes to the 6th rank, we can even pick up the pawn with check and then pick up the rook on a8. However, both of them extremely low on time. Garry even more so. After bishop to c5, he did not play rook captures on g7. Kasparov played rook to g3, but now Anand can simply start eliminating some of the pressure. Bishop captures on d4 was played. We have e captures on d4 by Kasparov, but as he played e captures on d4, it was in this position that Kasparov's time ran out, and it was in this position that Kasparov lost the game. So much like in the first game they played in this tournament, it was a better position for Anand, and Kasparov was trying something. So here Kasparov has a rook for 2 pieces, which is sometimes good, here not really, because it's very hard to create some sort of an attack against black's king. For example, Anand can just start getting his king to safety, bring the rook over into the game, and even if rook d to g1, trying to make use of the g file, we can just play bishop to g6, and we have full control of the f5 square. It's not a problem. The queen guards the b7 pawn, so it could be an interesting game, but of course black is still much better here. After e captures on d4, Kasparov lost on time, and Anand takes a second win in this tournament against his former rival Garry Kasparov, and continues to have a very nice tournament. So that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Robert Arathun and Jem, Al Boyd, CruzAdrier.com, and Christopher Marchetti for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the mini Kasparov saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.